Good afternoon. Welcome again to Live It Out Inc. on this beautiful, thoughtful Thursday. First of all, before we get started, I want you guys to click like and share with all your family and friends before we start our segment on tonight. Tonight is a very special night for Live It Out because tonight you guys get to hear from the founder of Live It Out Inc., which is Christina Murray, affectionately known as Duck Jones Production. So anyway, you guys are going to learn why Live It Out Inc. was even started, why we're doing all these awesome things to bring awareness to the community. So before we get started, I do want you guys to click share, click share, click share, click share, 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 share. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Like us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again. Thank you guys again for being such faithful followers. Thank you guys for tuning in on Thursday night and just tolerating me as we try to get the word out. So as you guys know, September is Suicide Awareness Month. So all this month we have been trying to bring awareness on suicide, as well as resources that are out there for you to use. If you know somebody that's thought about suicide or contemplate, even how to look for the triggers, the signs, how to talk to somebody that you think may be suicidal. So this has been a very, very important month for us at Live It Out Inc. because we really that's part of what we do. We try to bring awareness. We try to use the social media platforms to bring awareness to mental health, mental illness, suicide, and bullying. And we try to use all platforms to give you guys all the resources. We want to love on you. We want to encourage you to live it out, and to let you know that you are not alone, that is someone out here that's been going through the same thing, if not worse than what you've been. But the most important thing, that it is help out there. There are resources and there's places that you can go to make yourself mentally better, to make yourself emotionally better. So before we get started, I'm gonna introduce. We do have two panels. We have DeVante. We have a young king named DeVante with us tonight, and of course, the founder of Live It Out Inc., Christina. So before we get started, we have this short commercial that we would like to share with you guys. And soon after the commercial, we will get right into it.
We are excited about game night. Yes, Friday, September 25th at 8 p.m. via Zoom. All you have to do is email us at liveitoutinc@gmail.com to receive the link for game night. Yes, get your glass of wine, get you a shot, and we just looking forward to connecting with our Live It Out Inc. community. We look forward to seeing you on Zoom. Tonight's Black Business Highlight goes to Queen's Creations. Yes, created to enhance your already fabulous, unique style. Stop by Queen's Creations for your waist beads and your handmade jewelry. See, look at this. Cowboys, baby. Janice, that's it for today. Back to you.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to Queen's Creation. Let me get that Falcons bracelet next time. Okay, so now that we're here, guys, we're going to get started. You know, depression is real. Our last guest talked about PTSD and how that can cause suicide. Well, tonight, our special guest, our unique, special, adorable guest, are going to talk about depression and how it had an effect on their lives. But they came through it and they survived, and they want to share our story and it strengthen your story. And I just thank them for just having the courage to come on and open up their lives to us, hoping that it'll help somebody, hoping that it encourages somebody to continue to live, hope that it motivates somebody to move on, to dust themselves off, pick themselves up, and keep going. So first of all, we're going to have DeVante. Would like to welcome DeVante to Live It Out Inc. Hi, DeVante.
How you doing?
All right, so I want before we get started, I want you to just let our viewers know a little bit about yourself, um, what you do for a living, just anything you want to share with us before we get started.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So my name is DeVante McCray. I am an insurance agent at Geico, and I am currently MD at DeVante Ministries International in Jonesboro. And that's about some of my some of my life right by now.
Okay, brother Divine is Minister Divine type, brother
No, no, no,
Divine.
no, no minister, no minister.
Well, welcome Devontae to Live It Out Inc. And again, my brother, I thank you for being so bold because a lot of African American men, they won't say anything. They won't come forward. They won't share their story. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for just, taking the time out to come bless us and bless somebody with the things that you've gone through and how you made it through. And just, I'm gonna give you the floor and let you tell us what you want us to know.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me. It is an honor. Um, I would say I've suffered with or battled with depression for a long time. However, it intensified over the past, I'll say, 4 years. But really, within the past year, it was the worst. I was suicidal, depressed. Um, it's almost just like I will wake up every morning and it'll be bright and sunny outside, but all I could see was darkness. And I remember, I remember me sitting down with my mom and my auntie, and I just remember saying like, I don't even want to be here no more. I was so overwhelmed with grief. My grandmother passed away February of 2019 last year, and she was my backbone. I mean, I don't even have a way to explain it.
Yeah, understand.
But yeah, but losing her caused caused a lot of things in my life to be magnified, about myself, even about my family, about things that I was a part of, ministry, and all of that. And I knew that for a long time I hid behind the fact that my grandmother was a protector, my mama was a protector, and all those different types of things. But when I lost her, it's almost just like there was a disconnect between me and God. As close as I thought I was to Him, I really wasn't. And so I was so depressed. Ooh, um, I started doing all types of things. I was drinking all the time. Um, oh my gosh, I was drinking almost every day. As far as how I was handling my body, um, man, I'm trying to be transparent
I
as
want you to be.
as much as I can. I started sleeping around so much, like to the point to where it was, I mean, I don't want to sell too much, but I mean, it got to the point to where um I was just okay with being a part of everything. you
Mhm.
know it I just started doing things that I never thought that I would do. um Increase my body count. Like I said, drinking. I was angry. I was mean, to my mother, my sister. I just wasn't understanding. I was selfish. It was just a lot that I had going on. And I'll never forget. She said, "Take your time." Thank you. I'm trying. Um, I never forget. It was around June of last year that I was driving down the highway, and it's like something was telling me to run off the road, crash into, what I'm saying, the side part or something like that, or run into a river. I just started thinking about all these different types of things. And so something dawned on me, was just like, you need to leave. Like, you need to just get up, you need to go. And so I have family that lives in Texas. And that is the only place that I could think of that I could probably go to and probably be safe. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to go and start a new life out there. Everybody was questioning me, like, are you going to stay out there? You never going to come back? Or is this just for a small amount of time or whatever it is? And I was just like, I don't know. All I know is that I need to get away from here. And I remember on my ride from Atlanta to Houston, I think it was like 12 hours. The entire time, you know what I'm saying, I was praying, I was crying, I was worshiping, just trying to get an understanding of what my life had came to. I didn't have no money in my pocket. I think I probably had like $200, $200 or $300 that my family and friends had given me for my birthday. I didn't know what I was about to do. I just got on the road and I was just like, I'm finna go. Packed up all my stuff. On the way there, I was just questioning myself, like, is this what you really want to do? And I was just like, well, turning back is not an option. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a reason why you left. Um, and when I got to Texas, I love my father dearly. I love my father dearly. But I'm gonna be honest, my father had not been in my life like he was
Mhm.
supposed to have been. I met my dad face to face when I was 13 or 14. And so, I lived with him for a little while, and I mean, that wasn't enough. He never was, a part of anything, never showed up for anything, never came through for anything. So I was really taking a risk of going out there, being around him, being around my daddy's side of the family that I never had been really acquainted with like that. Um, but I mean, none of that really bothered me. I just wanted to get there and I just wanted to heal and I just wanted to hear from God. And so once I got there, um, me and my father got into a physical altercation. When I first got, well, first of all, when I first got there, I was knocking on, doors down there because my dad had relapsed on drugs.
Okay.
And so me and my sister, my brother-in-law, and my stepmother had went to a crack house trying to find him and all of that. So it's like as soon as I got there, I was consumed with what somebody else's drama was or what they had going on. And that's how I've always been, always, suppressing how I feel and what I got going on to be the protector of somebody else. And when we got there, when he finally did come home, I think it was like a week or so, we just came from church
Yeah.
and acting a fool. We had a physical altercation, and I remember I won't go into in depth into everything that happened. But we had an exchange of words and all of that, and I remember going to the garage and I grabbed a bat. I think it was like a metal bat, and I was just like, you come through here, you finna get this work. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
in the moment that I was about to say something, it's like I didn't want to be physical anymore. Everything that I wanted to do was everything that was about to come out my mouth. And the things that I was about to say would have ripped him apart.
Yeah.
And I remember almost God shutting my mouth. It's almost just like he was like, shut up. And I said, you know what? I'm finna go. And I left there and I went to my sister's house. And that's when my healing started. When I stopped blaming other people for me not having peace, when I stopped, you know what I'm saying, stop putting myself out there to be damaged, stop having sex, stop, contributing to, being broken by, like I said, having sex and drinking and all those types of things. And also always being in the seat of the victim.
Yeah.
God has called us to be victors. He didn't call us to be, what I'm saying, a victim. Even if you have been in the victim seat, there's always a way. God will always find a way to get the glory out of your life. And so when I was there, I just remember God pulling up the deepest parts of my life, my secrets, the things that I had done, the sins that I had committed, how I crossed other people, how I wasn't there for other people. It's like he revealed all these deep and secret parts of me and literally threw me, on my face. And I had to start praying and interceding and healing for myself. And so I said all that to say, grieving and I mean, I'm still grieving, and it's hard. I'm still battling with depression. Matter of fact, I've been battling with depression for the past 2 weeks, anticipating the holiday time coming up. But what I can say, what came out of that depression and that grief was God was able to show me myself. And it was because I was able to basically sacrifice and come from out of a comfortable place and go to an alone place where I was isolated. And I can relate to Jacob in the Bible because that was the only way that God broke him. He had to get into an alone place where he was able to, where God was able to show him himself and what he had done, what his past looked like,
Mm-hmm.
and all these types of
Mm-hmm.
things. Forget about what everybody else was talking about. Forget about what everybody else did to you. Let's talk about, what I'm saying, what I can do within you. And Bishop T.D. Jakes has a series. If you can, find the time to look at it, but it's called "Dig Your Own Ditches," and he was basically saying God is going to bless you according to how deep you dig.
Okay.
And I remember just I don't know if I went from childhood. I started confronting the molestation I went through, what I'm saying, all the different things that I did that I got away with, what I'm saying, God's grace and mercy that covered me. And I was able, my father is a big part of why, battle with depression and stuff like that. And I remember God literally saying, there's a scripture that says, we are the adopted sons of God.
Mm-hmm.
And in him we have our father, and they said we cry out by our father. And in that moment, I removed all expectations from my dad, from my earthly dad, all disappointments and all these different types of things that would set me back or that would cause me to be angry and all this type of stuff. And I got to a point to where I just kneeled down. I humbled myself. Um, I got into prayer. I was reading scriptures every day. I was on the bathroom floor, just laying out, just praying, trying to get through, trying to, asking God for guidance and what my next step would be and all of that. And I'm trying to paraphrase everything because it's a lot that goes with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember my cousin, one of my cousins, before I left Atlanta to go to Houston, she told me, she said in February of 2020, God is going to bless you. She's no prophet. She's no minister. She's no none of that. But
Yeah.
I knew that it was God. I knew that it was God's voice. She said that in February of 2020, God is going to bless you, and you're not going to expect it. And so I didn't know, shoot, if he was going to heal me here, I mean, here, if it going back to Atlanta or in Houston. But I remember it was around the holiday time, and God gave me the peace to come back to Atlanta. And I never forget in February, I think I had just came off a fast or something like that. And I remember I didn't have a job. I was Ubering. I was doing all of that
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's when I was able to, I graduated college. Well, I have 2 degrees, but my last, when I got my undergrad degree, was May of 2018. Between May 2018 and like the new year of 2020, I had never had a job that would acknowledge my degree. And
Oh,
in February, I went and I had some things that I had to deal with as far as um, mistakes that I made in the past that could potentially prevent me from getting this job. Um, but I'm telling you, like, I really do believe in the scripture. I think it was it Tamala Man that said something. I'm always quoting people.
mm-hmm.
She said, "He's the God of the just and the unjust."
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember other scripture where he said, he's married to the backslider. And then I see others, the scriptures, where it says like, return to me, what I'm saying, return to your father. And I think about, the character of God, how he has that father character, that even when the prodigal son left, when he came back, he welcomed him back with open arms. And I just remember me beating myself up about all the things that I had done,
Mm-hmm.
different mistakes that I had and all sort of stuff. And God reminded me of Adam in the Bible when he was out there in the garden and ate the fruit and all of that. And God had called out to him, and he was just like, God, I heard. He said, what he said? He said, I heard you, but I hid myself because I was naked.
Because I was
And yeah, and he said, who told you that you were naked? And I mean, at this moment, anybody that's listening, anybody that's dealing with, anything from your past, whatever generational curses, secrets, and stuff that you have going on, do not hide yourself from Him. You are in the perfect place for God to start purging you, to start working on you, to start sanctifying you, and able to deal with you at the core of your heart. You have to get into a place of alone time where you're not a father, you're not a sister, you're not a brother, you're not a son, you're not a servant at this church, you're not ministering to this person, all some stuff. You are in a alone place where God can see you in your nakedness. The things that you despise are the things that He loves to use for Him to get glory. Matter of fact, there's a scripture. I'm gonna
Come on,
stop.
look, come
I'm gonna
on, girl. You
stop.
trying to go
But
to
there's a
church?
scripture. There's a scripture. I remember when I was getting ready. Oh my God. Ooh, I
Feel your
was
help
getting
coming
ready to
on.
submit. Yes, Lord. I was getting ready to submit my application, my criminal background, and all those types of things. Like I said, I had some things that would potentially stop me from moving forward. And I remember the scripture, I can't remember it verbatim, but he said that I will present you faultless before my glory. And
Mhm.
so for people who are, where your past is starting to, hunt you, or trying to come back up at you, or there's different things that you have not dealt with, or those things that you're fear that you have fear of dealing with because you're fearful of what people will think about you or what it would do for you academically, financially, and all those types of things. I am telling you, God is faithful. God is faithful. And I'm not telling you something that I heard, I'm telling you something that I know. As many times that He could have exposed me, as many times that He could have swept things from up under my feet, as many times as He could have turned me, He could have turned me over to myself, to a reprobate mind, God was still faithful to me.
Yeah.
God was still faithful to me. And those things that I felt as if were going to block me, block my future and where I was going, that scripture tells you that He will present you faultless. So there's not a devil in hell. There is not a criminal background. There is not a background with sexual immorality or whatever it is that you got going on that will make you feel ashamed. God wants you in your nakedness, and He will present you faultless before His glory. There is no way that He can touch you. There is no way that the devil can touch you. That scripture. I know that it's very cliche, but it's very true. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. It
Yeah.
may form, but it won't prosper. I'll start right there. I'm gonna start right
Okay, but let
there.
me explain to our followers what sound like to me that your depression came in spiritual warfare
Yeah.
because you grew up around your grandma
Mm-hmm.
and you was already in church. You
Yeah.
knew who God was. You
Mm-hmm.
knew who you belonged to. But that moment that your faith was tested when God took your queen, your
Oh
grandma,
yeah.
from you, your battle of your faith began.
Mm-hmm.
So you started, you wanted to question God, and I'm just talking now. You let me know because this
Mm-hmm.
is what I was feeling when I was listening to you,
Yeah.
and the same thing happened to me. That's how come I know
Mm.
what you're talking about. So it was more of a spiritual depression that you went into because you knew God. You know what God is capable of doing. You know
Mm-hmm.
how He can come through. You know how God will pull up and bless and deliver and heal and all of that. But when it didn't happen for you, you didn't understand it. So you
Yeah.
turn, you were struggling with your faith. And a lot of people go to therapy, and that's what we want people to do. That's why they're here. And I was going to ask you that. Did you have to go to therapy for your depression, or was it straight spiritual for you?
So I went to therapy. I went to therapy, and I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't effective until my third session.
Okay.
Because my third session is when I chose to be honest. Like instead of, when I first came in, I was just kind of like holding back. I'm just like, I'm just gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about that or whatever. We're gonna leave this part alone, we're gonna leave this alone, but we're gonna fix this. Um, my third session was effective, not so much of what the therapist did, but because I was able to open up, you know, certain, treasures and stuff that's closed with a lock on it, certain things you say you will take to your grave,
Yeah.
some things, things that you're dealing with your family. Because when I was growing up, they'll say don't go against the grain. You
Don't
know what I'm
go. Yeah.
saying?
Well, stay
But
in
if the
stay in this house and all this and that, that old
right,
school stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I remember when Tyler Perry, I'm always quoting folks.
But
I
that's
remember when Tyler Perry said, when people say what goes on in this house stays in this house, he said, but what if what is going on in the house is hurting me, then I need to go seek help.
Exactly.
And so in the therapy sessions, I was able to be just transparent and honest and stuff like that. But I'm gonna say mostly of what I had going on was spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of me humbling myself, a lot of me in worship, a lot of me in my word, and a lot. I'm not a minister, and I don't aspire to be none of that. However, my grandmother taught me to pray. My mother taught me to pray, and that's just always been my go-to. And so it had been a long time since I felt pulled to pray, because some folks,
Yeah.
they start praying and they just, whatever it is, folks and start talking in their heavenly language right off the top. They'll be like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Like, hold
No,
up.
I'm not type, right, right. I'm not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes it's like God has to shake me sometimes or something like that. But I remember when I was in Texas, I was pulled to prayer. Sometimes I'll be standing up and walking around and trying to pray and stuff like that, but he will pull me down to my knees. I'll be on my face before you know it. Um, it had a lot to do with prayer. It had a lot to do with emptying myself. And I'm gonna say this: I don't want to be a preacher, but there was a river that Jacob was at before he crossed out when God dealt with him, and I think it's called Yabok. I think it's Yabokk, but I think the way they say it is with like a J. Um, yes, he will use a therapist. um, but when I looked up the Hebrew meaning of that river, the Hebrew meaning was emptying. So,
Mm-hmm.
in other words, you know what I'm saying? God had to get him to a place of isolation, dealing with him in a place of prayer, and so that he could be able to cross over, you know what I'm saying, this river into this new land. But before he crossed over that river was an indication of what he had to be doing, which was emptying himself. And I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, if you go on Google, you can look this up and it'll all make sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that, in that time when I was in Texas and I was praying and stuff like that, God was emptying me. He
Okay.
was emptying me of the wrong perception, emptying me of my own agenda, emptying me of people's opinions, emptying me of feeling like I always had to be the rescue for other people. That was one thing. I'll stop right there. But that was one thing. One of my battles when I was in therapy is that I used my grandmother's sickness and her being down um, as a reason for me not to deal with my own stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I always felt occupied. I
Yeah.
always felt occupied. I had to be at her. I had to be at her bedside, or I had to make sure she had this. Not only that, but leading up to that, I had almost like two near death experiences with my mama, where I had to be there for her. When I graduated high school, I went to South Georgia State College, and I graduated from there. And on my graduation day, she told me that she had cancer, cervical cancer, and that the doctor told her that it had advanced. And I did not even know that while I was away in college, that her and my little sister was spending nights, in the hospital.
Yeah.
My sister was missing school and all some stuff. So I'm just now finding this out. I left Douglas to come to Atlanta just to be with my mama because I didn't want her to have to go through that by herself. So there was another situation where I'm occupying myself with something else that's going on. And then I had the sickness of my grandfather and the sickness of my grandmother. And in those years, it's kind of like there was no break in between it.
Mm-hmm.
When they got sick, it was a sudden decline. And
Yeah.
I lost my grandfather February of 2018 and turned around and lost my grandmother February of 2019.
Wow.
So this depression was not, and then not only that, but there were some things I had gotten myself into that could have, um, threatened my career, what I'm saying, my academics and all those types of things. So I was in fear of that, court cases with that, what I'm saying, just so much stuff that I had going
It was
on. So
over.
when my grandmother passed away,
Mm-hmm.
that was it. That was the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah. Because I heard you say, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
When you
Mm-hmm.
was telling about it, and that's one of the signs like if you hear your friends or your loved ones saying, I just don't want to be here. And I heard you say that you was being mean, that you were mean and you were selfish.
Oh yeah.
Also signs of depression, or that somebody may be suicidal. Now,
Hmm.
in your depression, like when you was like in that dark place, did you feel like, I heard you say you felt isolated.
Hmm.
You felt isolated, but what was going through your mind? Like, what were you thinking? Like, if I leave here, everything's gonna be okay.
Oh yes.
What made you
Yes.
change your mind? What made you
Yeah.
not run that car off the road?
Yeah.
Why did you decide not to run it off the road?
At that point in my life, I didn't see a future. I
Oh,
didn't see a future. All this stuff that I was talking before, where I was just like, oh, buy all of these properties, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna accomplish this, and I'm gonna finish this, and go to, finish my master's degree, and I had all these different types of things that I was going to do, and in those moments, for a couple of months, well, actually, a whole year. Um, I just forgot about everything. Like I didn't care. The whatever they say, like the promises of God and all this type of stuff. I didn't care about none of that stuff. At
yeah.
the end of the day, what I wanted was not. I didn't want money. I didn't want money. I didn't want material things and all that type of stuff. I wanted peace. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I wanted peace. I wanted clarity. I wanted guidance. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. To this day, I still can. And it's been a year and some change since my grandma has been gone. I still can't believe that she's not here. I'm still having to deal with it. Some of it is, some of it is a part of denial. Um, you know, because nobody ever prepares for something like that.
Absolutely.
um, and then the role that she played in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and just she was my safe place, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and so of course holidays and all of that stuff is it has not been the same because that safe place for me is not there anymore,
I
you know.
understand.
So it's almost just like I didn't see a future. I didn't see me having a career. I didn't see me finishing my degree. I almost did not finish my undergrad degree when my granddad passed away. I had flunked out a whole. Many people don't know. I flunked out a semester. Like I literally had a one. No, it was like a 0.6 that semester.
Oh wow, yeah. Doing that. You were just
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I got my refund check and I was out. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I remember my grandma saying, if I can just live to see you just be successful and see you walk across that stage again and stuff. I mean, because she saw me when I got my associate degree.
Yeah.
But it's a whole nother thing when you get the undergrad degree,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. So she was able to see me walk across the stage and all this type of stuff. And I was able to, I guess I was able to accomplish those things because at the end of the day, at a certain point for a whole year, I did not see a future. I didn't see myself excelling academically, financially, or none of those things. Um, but I had to stop being selfish, with my life because even though my grandmother had left, God called my grandmother home. I still have a little sister here that
Mm-hmm.
still looks up to me.
Mm-hmm.
I still have there's a song out there. It's a gospel artist. But he said there are hands that I haven't shaken yet. There are
Mm-hmm.
rooms that I have not went into yet. There are curses that haven't been broken yet. You know what I'm saying? There are doors that I have not walked into yet. And I know for a fact that God would not bring me to a point, to where I take my own life and forfeit all the blessings and things that can come out of me
Exactly.
sharing my testimony and being transparent. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but being able to deal with myself, what I'm saying, and healing, so that I can see that family that I want, that wife and those kids that I want. So like I said, the things that were going through my mind, I just feel like, nothing was gonna get better. And I felt like, and not only that, but I felt like I brought too much pain to this world.
Oh,
And me killing myself would have, nobody would have to worry about me again.
oh wow.
Everybody can move on with their life. I legit felt that way.
Well, look at you now.
Right.
Look at you now. Now, if
Right.
you had have done that, and if it had happened, your grandmama would know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
true.
you keep making her proud. You keep living through her legacy. You keep
Yeah.
memories alive. And I want you, I'm gonna tell Doug to send you a video I did on grief because I lost my
Okay.
mom, and which was
Okay.
Doug's grandmama. And the same way you feel about your grandmama, that's exactly how she feels about my mom. So I think you that'll bless you. But I want to
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your story. I want you to hang out with us because we're gonna bring
Okay.
Duck on next and let her share. But you continue to live it out. You are doing amazing things. You are
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank
You
you.
keep going. Ain't no turning back. No more
No.
negative thoughts. No more
No.
negative vibes.
No.
You got to show your sister what life
Mm-hmm.
is all about. And you just
That's
got to
true.
keep speaking those blessings. Keep doing what God has put you here to do. Living your purpose. Walking your purpose. Be who God called you to be. And you are destined for greatness.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again, DeVante, for sharing your story. Now we're going to bring the founder of Live It Out Inc. and let her kind of share her story with us. So, Christina,
How you doing?
hey girl.
DeVante, man, I was listening and you sound so much like me. I'm like, oh
Is
my
that
God, I went through that. I experienced that. It's crazy. We have so many similarities. So it's perfect that you're on the broadcast with me tonight.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I ain't gonna take the time up, but I put on the post. I said Duck be having me seem so relevant. Like she included me on some lives and stuff like that. I'm like,
yes,
man, I
you
ain't no
matter.
minister. I ain't no none of that. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you
But
matter,
I
boo.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you got a word in you, and it's gotta be birthed out of you. So it comes out however God see fit to come out.
Thank
So
you.
Christina, and
Yes.
this is personal. This like Will and Jada bringing themselves to the table.
Ooh.
So um because I'm gonna be listening as a host, but Christine is my daughter. So I just gotta let her tell her story and we'll take it from there. We are dealing with depression and suicide. And DeVante shared his story. And again, brother, I'm glad you made it. And I want you to keep going. And now Christina gonna tell us her story. And then this is how Live It Out Inc. came about.
All right, it's my turn.
It's your turn, Christina. Duh.
Okay, so I want to first of all thank everybody so much for watching and following and keeping up with what we have going on. I wanted to come on and explain why I started the organization. We are a nonprofit. I started it in 2017, and just to take you back to the beginning, I actually suffered with depression when I was in middle school. So in middle school, I used to write hate letters. I used to hate my life. I tried to burn the house down. My mom didn't care. She was like, "You better go put that fire out." And then I was like, "You don't see me. I'm trying to burn the house down. I'm trying to get your attention." But that just, it blew over. Then I just kept on living. Then fast forward to when I turned 16, my grandmother has a heart attack and still going through a depression from middle school to high school, but I was just managing it. I was just going through the motions. So when I turned 16, my grandmother had a heart attack, and I have two biggest fears. I know God haven't given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. But my biggest fear was losing my grandmother and being buried alive. So at 16, she had a heart attack, and I felt like I was going to lose her. And then at the same time, I was going through a spiritual warfare in my mind. I literally used to have dreams about warfare, and I used to be um, I used to be in war in my dreams, and I used to feel like I was being choked, and I used to feel like I couldn't fight for myself, and angels were really fighting for me in my dreams because I was so depressed and so tired I couldn't take it. So I felt the depression. I ended up being depressed because I felt unloved. I felt unwanted. I felt nobody cared about me. And when in reality, people actually did care about me. But when you in such a dark place, you don't see that. You don't feel that. So when I was 16, I can explain everything that was in the room. I came home from school one day, and I actually wrote a suicide note. But and I ended up burning those notes when I turned like 25 or 26. I burnt all of them. But I actually did write a suicide note. And I came home from school And I was in my room, and my sister shared a room at the time. Shout out to Puff. But we shared a room at the time. And I remember I came home and I went to sleep, and I was, like I said, I was battling in my mind. And when I was sleeping, the enemy was just saying, "You're nothing. You're never going to be nothing. You're no good. Nobody loves you. Nobody cares about you. You should just kill yourself." And these words were in my mind. Like this, nobody said this to me. This was just what I felt in my mind, in my spirit. So the the enemy, and I'm just going to say the enemy, was telling me, you need to just kill yourself because nobody loves you. So I end up, and the enemy was saying, go downstairs and get a knife. So I went downstairs, I grabbed the biggest knife that was in there, and I came upstairs to my room. And then he said, no, you need to go back downstairs and get a chair, because my door at the time was broken and it didn't lock. So I ended up going downstairs, following the voice, to go get a chair, to put up against my door to keep anybody from coming in case they were trying to stop me from killing myself. So I put the chair up against the door, and I remember standing on the side of the bed, and I had the knife up to my throat. And the enemy was saying, just do it, go, just do it. You know, you're not worth it. You're not going to be this. You're not going to be that. And I started to cut my neck. And then he said, wait, stop. Put the knife into your heart, because you won't suffer that way. It'll be instant. You won't have to suffer. So right when I did that, and I promise y'all, this is why I love God so much. Because although nobody could get through the door to stop me, my mom was at work, my sister was doing what, I don't know. The voice of God came into that room and said 3 phrases. He said, Christina, stop. I have something for you, and it's going to happen. And just like that, the darkness went away. And I fell asleep. Just like that. And I fell asleep, and I slept as peaceful as I could have. That I haven't slept that peaceful in a long time. And that was at 16. At 21, I tried to take my life with some pills. I took 10 pills. And again, I fell asleep. I didn't have to be hospitalized. They didn't have to pump my stomach or nothing like that. But I was trying to end it all. And then as I got older, I started to realize you lack problem solving skills. Because I used to always, like, if I didn't, if I failed at something, or if I didn't get something, or if I had a lot of rejection, I was like, what's the point of all of this? There's no point in doing this. And I used to get so upset, and I used to I wanted to take my life, and I didn't want to be here anymore. And then as I got a little older, I'm like, wait a minute, you lack problem solving skills. It's ways around this than just trying to always take yourself out. And at the time, I didn't believe that I had a purpose, but I definitely have a purpose now. And that was in the past. Yeah, I am set free. God has delivered my mind. I am totally free, and trying to encourage somebody out there to live their best life. If you know me and you follow me, you know that I'm trying to live the best years of my life, trying to fill that between time with happiness and joy and peace. I honor my peace. I try not to let nobody disturb my peace at all, if you know me. And I'm just trying to live so that God can be pleased and that you all can be encouraged.
Let me say this. As her mother, I had no earthly idea.
Oh, I will say this. It did take me 10 years to confess that to anybody. It wasn't like I just didn't tell my parents. It was something that I didn't tell anybody, because I just didn't think that people would, one, take me seriously. Two is like it just didn't happen in our community. It wasn't a black person thing. It was all, you always heard it as a white people do that. And if any of my Caucasian friends, I'm not trying to down y'all on that. It was just like white people do that, black people don't do that. I just didn't think that people would understand where I was coming from. And again, like I said, I didn't feel like people hurt me or that I was being seen.
And just to hear that is like gut wrenching. Just to hear that, as because I feel like, okay, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I know that my child was hurting so bad on the inside? So but I can remember my mom, her grandma was saying, Christina, all right? Duck, all right? Do you talk to her? She said, Duck is depressed. Look how she's sleeping. She's sleeping too much. My mama would be fussing at me all the time. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. I'm like, ma, ain't nothing wrong with her. She know how to talk. So, and I'm so hard. I was so hard on them about not being weak that I could not see that it was like times in their life where they were weak. You know, I took them to church. I made sure they went to school. I fed them. I did the best that I could as a mom, but I didn't know how to look for that pain that Duck was feeling. To this day, that hurts me to my heart to know that my child suffered like that, and I had no earthly idea. But thanks be to God, and to God be the glory that she had a praying grandmama. Because although you were hurting, I had no idea. Me and Duck 15 years apart. I had a young. So if she was 15, I was 30. And I probably was why I probably ain't, I'm as real as they come. I ain't gonna tell you what I was doing, what I had going on that I didn't see it, but for the most part, I took care of my kids. Um, but my mom would always say, "It's something wrong, boo. You need to be talking to her. It's something wrong." She was worried about, was it the eczema on your skin? You think they talking about her? You think people messing with her because she got a skin disease? Do you think people? I'm like, Mom, does she know how to say something? She know what to do. They know how to square up if it comes to it. This is the conversation I'm having with my mom about her. Um, but this girl, you was living off the prayers of your grandmama because she saw something that I clearly did not see. And from the bottom of my heart, let me apologize on social media in front of whoever watching and everybody that I did not see that pain that you was feeling. And that's just, parents, you have to be in tune with your children. You have to be in tune. You need to watch them. You need to listen to them. You need to be accessible where they feel like they can come to you and talk to you, where it's no strain on them, or they in fear that you're not gonna understand, or you're gonna cuss them out, or you're gonna fuss at them, or you're gonna holler at them, or you're gonna brush them off or push them away. As parents, especially Black parents, because we are known for being hard. I know I was hard on y'all. I was explaining, me and my coworker was talking today, and I was telling her I wasn't a hugger. I didn't give out hugs. I didn't kiss them. It was always, let's go. We got to go. Get your book bag. Get your shoes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So it was always the hustle and the bustle. It was always know what to do. You need to know what to do. If this happened, you need to know what to do. It wasn't that I didn't embrace them. They didn't cry a lot. If they cried, they didn't cry in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So, well, let me take that back because Puff, I can remember when Puff had her first little heartbreak. Oh God.
Don't leave my sister out of this.
But Duck has always been a loner. She's always been private. She's always been to herself. So, and I was just thinking, that's just who she is. That's just who she is. She's not loud. She's not the one that don't has to be seen. She never had to be seen. She was always low key. You never knew she was there, or you never knew what she was doing or what she was thinking. You've always been like that. But like I said, when it comes to this suicide thing and what these millennials or these young people, what they're thinking, we as old school parents, we gotta just tune in a little bit more. We gotta just, we gotta change the game and be like, okay, let me listen. I'm gonna close my mouth. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna bring it down a notch or two, and I'm gonna let you listen. I'm gonna actually listen to what you have to say. So that depression, I did not see. I've been through depression. I've been depressed myself. I've never been suicidal. And
that's worthy of noting. All depression doesn't lead to suicide.
It doesn't. But I've been depressed, and I've taken it. I've never had to see. I think I should go see somebody. I'm really at the point now that I probably do need to go see somebody because I be tripping myself out sometime on some stuff. But I've been depressed. I've actually been depressed a couple of times, and again, I'm just thanks be to God. And I just felt like I ain't got time. I don't even have time to feel like this. I can't feel like this because I ain't got time. I got stuff to do. I got people to see. I got things that I need to get done, and that just come with me not taking care of myself mentally, or me not taking care of myself emotionally, just sucking it all up and just being superwoman, having the superwoman syndrome. And my mama instilled it in me because my mama wasn't a hugger, but I know my mama loved me. I have no doubt in my mind, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that my OG cared for me.
She hugged me.
We used to fight. Well, I begged her to whoop Duck, and I begged her to whoop my children. She wouldn't even do it. But um, I was just taught to be strong. I was taught that you got to stand on your own. I was taught that you got to take care of yourself. You got to pay your bills. You got to do this. You. That I put it on my children. I was like, it's no time for weakness. I would send them to school sick. You ain't got time to be sick. You need to go to school and learn. Go to school. They'll send you back if it's something wrong with you. So it was just real. And I look back like that. I was like, yeah, I was kind of rough. I don't regret it. I regret that I missed some things. You know what I'm saying? I missed some things. But it was all in God's plan. Because had you not gone through that journey, Live It Out Inc. would not be here. Duck Jones Production would not be here. All those wonderful things that Christina is trying to do would have manifested unless she had gone through that journey. So, just thank God that Satan didn't win.
Oh no.
Like I said, your grandmama, my mama been praying for us since day one. And now you guys know how Live It Out came about. Again, this was like this. It hurts me to hear you say that. And I was talking with Tamika, and she was like, "Oh God, please don't let her tell that story. I can't take it no more. I can't take it." So I thank you for sharing and being transparent. And that's how I saw her vision. Like I would see them do stuff. I was like, "Okay, go ahead, do what y'all do. Just let me know if you need something." But when she came out and she told me her purpose, and I was like, "Wow." I didn't know. I didn't understand. So now I see it. We did the suicide walk. We would do all these little other things. And even when we did that walk that year, and we had to wear these different color beads for the ones that survived, the ones that however it was, but it was so awesome, but it was so heartbreaking and painful to see how many people that we have lost to suicide when all it would have taken was a conversation. Or somebody just to listen to them, or somebody to make them feel that, hey, look, I love you and I do care what's going on with you. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know how you're feeling. Let's talk about it. And we have to get out of the hustle and the bustle. And again, that's one thing that this pandemic has done, slowed a lot of people down. All right, slow down. Check the house. Let's reevaluate some things and see what's going on. And since this pandemic, Live It Out Inc. has grown. Again, God is so strategic, and He has His own way of making things manifest. And Christina, I thank you again for sharing your story. And I'm gonna put her dad on blast because I think his wife told him that she saw your post. So he gonna call me and talk. Hey man, why you ain't tell me Duck tried to kill herself? I said, well, why are you calling me? Why didn't you call Duck? And talk about it. But and it touched him, so as parents to hear that, it hurts at any level, at any point, no matter how old the child is, to hear that your child got into such a place that was so dark. And they felt so alone and so isolated that they couldn't come and tell you what they was feeling. If you care anything about your kids, it hurts. You never stop being a mom. You never stop being a dad. I don't care if they 30, 40, 50, however long they live. You never stop being mom and dad. So old school, we got to switch it up a little bit, y'all. We got to listen to the millennials. That's probably why they out, and they deal with things so differently. Teenagers today and millennials today, they deal with things so differently because they want instant gratification. You guys want it, bam, free bands. I want money. Future said I can get free bands. I want it right now. Give it to me right now. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get it, however I need to get it. And they don't understand that it's a process. Life is a process, and life is a learning experience. And you have to go through it to learn some things, but you need to know how to navigate through it and get over some things without going into that dark place. And then even if you get there, you should surround yourself by people that that gonna hold you accountable. And this was something Chris was saying last week on here. People that can kind of pull your coattail and be like, hey, what's going on? Something different about you. You know, why you drinking so much? You know what I'm saying? Or why, oh, you with old girl today, now you with this girl, and you gonna be with old girl. Nah, bro, that ain't what you need to be doing. So you got to have people that's gonna hold you accountable for life choices. For because this thing called life is not easy. It's not easy. So again, I want to thank you guys. Please, guys, if you have any comments, concerns, I mean, anything you want to share, and the questions, please put them in our live feed. But Christina and DeVante, what would you guys say to a millennial that's you guys' age, millennials or younger, you know, Generation Z or Generation X, whatever y'all kids, y'all got the alphabet. So what would you say to a millennial who's going through these things that you guys feel in those dark places that you went to? That I don't want to be here, people. Life would be better if I wasn't here. What would you tell them today? We're gonna start with you, DeVante, and then we'll go to Christina.
All right. I would say to find your safe place. Um, Safe place is not always a church. Safe place is not always a church. You know, safe place is you know, I feel like in the time, like, you know, where you said the I don't want to be here people, they will find ways to gratify themselves. Not so much in a more positive way, but more so of whatever their weaknesses may be. So if they don't want to be here, then you'll see them indulging more into sex or more into drugs or more into socializing with other people, or more so, you know, indulging that mindset of doubting themselves and stuff like that. I would say find your safe place. You know, whatever it is that brings you peace. You know, whatever it is that calms you. I like sitting in the grass. I like going to my grandma's house and sitting in the grass. And I like just sitting there and just, you know, listening to music. I pray. I jot down my ideas. I jot down scriptures. You know, people back in the day will tell you, you ain't reading the Bible if you don't know the books in order.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know the books in order, but if I'm depressed or if I need to feel joyful, if I, you know what I'm saying, am battling with something financially or something like that, I will go to Google and I'll say, um, I need some more money, scripture. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Something as simple as
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, something as simple as that. So that you can have that place that place of solace where you can be isolated and commune with God and to basically sound yourself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, therapy. I will say therapy does help, um, because some people really need that guidance. Some people really need that advice, and I do believe that God has blessed, um, you know, therapists to be that middleman to help you as an intercessor, if you want to think of it,
Okay.
to
Yeah.
get you into that place of thinking differently. You know, changing your perspective and all those types of things. So I'll say that. I'm sorry, I don't want to be too long before Duck goes. I also want to say a message to all of the parents that are out there, because everything that you were just saying is the same thing that my mom said. She was always going, always working, worked 3 jobs. You know, it was nothing, you know what I'm saying, that would stop her from working. You know what I'm saying? We never had to go without because she was always working. However, well, two things. Matter of fact, somebody said something about the church. So the first thing is to the parents. Um, your parents' way of raising you is not the way, you know what I'm saying, to raise your kids. He said something has to break. You know what I'm saying? It has to break somewhere. If look like it blacked out. Y'all can see me?
No, you.
No. I think his phone wrong.
Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Um, something has to break. At some point, you're gonna have to confront that secret that's in the family. At
mm,
some point, you're gonna have to, you know, sit down and say, If they didn't deal with you, as a child, and when it start talking about sex and whether somebody really loves you or not or something like that, these are the conversations that we need to be having. What is it that, how do you think about, how do you think of yourself? If the father is not there, then that there's some father wounds that are there. So you need to be interfering or creating ways for them to have an outlet. You know what I'm saying? So that they can heal in those areas. Because just like you were saying, you had no idea that Duck was going through that. The same thing my mom said. However, my mom did say there are some times where God showed her a sign that she needed to tend to me in a certain area, but she was so busy working and trying to make sure we had a roof over our head and stuff like that, that she missed those moments. And
Amen.
those are the moments that I had to endure that created that isolation of feeling rejected and abandoned and stuff like that. So it's not, these millennials are not going crazy. You know what I'm saying? They're not going crazy. They're not out of their mind. These are legit feelings that they have. The second thing I'm going to say, and I'll be done, is to the church. When I was serving in church, and I love everybody. I love everybody in church, love ministers and all that type of stuff. But there are a lot of things that they missed trying to grow the church, trying to make, trying to use you for, your gifts and all these types of things. And you're pouring out and you're pouring out, but you have these vices that you have. For me, it was sex and alcohol and all those types of things. And instead of people coming to the rescue and interceding and praying and saying, I need to sit you down, I need to talk to you, I need to pray with you, it was too many people judging and what he got
Yeah.
going on. And is he a praise and worship leader? And he got, what I'm saying? And I was, so that backed me up into a corner even more. So I would say to the church, these people, these millennials, these parents, stop discounting people, stop counting people out, stop writing people off.
Off.
Listen. The same sins that we commit is nothing new under the sun. It's the same
Nothing
thing that they
new
were
under.
doing back then. But and I'm gonna stop right here. When the lady, what's that lady? When they was about to stone her, and he said, Jesus said to them, he said, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. And they all dropped their stones. And she was gonna beat herself up, like, Lord, you ain't gonna do nothing to me. And all he said was, go and sin no more.
Go and sin.
That's
Or
the
yeah.
same type of heart, that's the same type of grace, that's the same type of forgiveness, that's the same type of intervening that we should have as Christians, to be so involved in the life of a believer that you're not so much of, talking at them, but talking to
To
them,
them. And
understanding them, and able to relate to them. Because there are a lot of people out here, church members and stuff that I know that can relate to what a lot of millennials are going through, but they rather be seen as this high and mighty pastor,
yeah.
or I overcame this, so we ain't gonna talk about that, or we ain't gonna touch on that. But if you dealt with homosexuality, if you was a whore before, excuse my mouth, if you
Oh,
dealt drugs before, if you know what I'm saying, if you were lying, if you were not an integral person, if you were sexually immoral, if you were stealing money from the church and stuff like that, we need to hear that. We want
yes,
to
I
hear
agree.
it, and how
I,
God saved you and how he brought you through. You are not strong just because you feel like you've made it to this point, like you've made it to the place called death. You
yeah.
haven't. As long as we live, we are going to struggle with the flesh. But if you have advice, if you have wisdom, if you have the scripture, if you are specializing in prayer, interceding and stuff like that, don't let it be for a platform. Don't let it just be for church. Go down and grab those people. You don't always have to wait until the altar call to go lay hands on somebody. There are some times where God will give you discernment when somebody walks through the door and said that this person is battling, I'm saying, this, or this person is battling that. But we are in a place where a lot of people are have become fan favorites of having a title in the pulpit, but nobody really want to sacrifice, and everybody want their name to be up there. But those times when God talks to you in the middle of the night, are you praying for that person in the middle of the night, like you would pray for them if you were at the altar and you were a minister and you got your call and stuff on? Do you exude that same type of energy? So to the church, to the parents, to the millennials and stuff, find your safe place, heal, get therapy, and don't just talk about it. Be about it.
Yeah, but
And I'm gonna end right here with that scripture says, they say that they love me, but their hearts are far from me.
the hearts are far from it. Preach,
Fix your heart.
preach, DeVante, Pastor DeVante.
I'm
But you know
done.
he'll pastor because he keeps saying, I'm gonna end right here. I'm gonna stop right here.
He
This
sounds just like
last
me.
I
time.
always
I'm gonna end right here. This it right here. And I'm gonna leave you with this
Yeah,
scripture.
you're right.
Pastor DeVante, it's coming, baby. It's
Right.
coming.
just you.
I love it. I love it. I would encourage the millennials to first stop seeking validation from everybody else. Stop looking to love from all the other places when you should just really start looking from within and learning to love yourself. I know it's cliche, but looking with it, I had to dig deep inside of me and find things that are lovable, things that I love about myself. I'm somebody I date myself. I go to the movies, I go out to eat, and it's not strange for me. It's just what I do. Like as my mom said, I'm a loner. So I enjoy those things to do by myself. I'm not looking for love from my parents or anybody else. So I feel so much happy like within myself. And so I just want to encourage you to look within yourself, because some of those teenagers or young kids that want to commit suicide is usually sometimes things that they see, like, oh, I don't like my skin, oh, I don't like this, oh, I don't like that about myself. That's something that we have to look at in ourselves. It's not your parents' fault. That's not you this is how you were created. So I want to encourage you to look within, find things that you love, stop looking for validation from other people. Don't look for your job to validate you, don't look for your kids to validate you. You have to validate you. You have to live with yourself every day. So make sure that you're living a life that is going to make you happy. If you want to live in darkness and you don't want nobody to help you, that's a totally different thing. But if you want to be happy, you have to find that joy in things within yourself. To the parents, I would say, as they've been saying, make sure that you're attentive to your child. Pay attention. Get off those cell phones.
Mm. Don't do that.
Get off. Oh no, I'm looking at everybody.
Oh, I was like, don't do that.
I'm grown now. You don't have to. You stay on your phone as long as you want to. But it's just like, as I was saying, when I was burning the house down, you was on your phone at the time. So I'm
You
like,
better be glad you ain't burned my house down. I
so
bet
like
you
people are like your kids are giving you warning signs. They
yeah.
It's not something that's going to be foreign if something happens years after, because the warning signs are always there. You just have to be attentive, slow down, ask them questions, ask how was your day, and listen. You can't be like, how you doing? As we, if we're working, hey, how you doing? All right, good, bye, and just keep on moving. Stand still. How are you doing? What's going on? Mental check. Have a mental health check-in with your kids. As we were talking about dinner table discussions, it's okay to talk about mental health at the table, even if you have to reword it so it won't be, a shock to them. Ask the right questions. Learn to ask the right questions and stay off those phones when y'all at the dinner table. And that's all I have to say.
Well, again, DeVante, Christina, founder of Live It Out Inc. Want you guys to hold up those L's.
Throw your L's in the sky.
The
Wave them
L's in
high
the
because you know that
sky. I
we're
don't know what
live.
DeVante
Hey,
went
throw
to,
your L's
but
in the
DeVante,
sky.
I hope you holding your L up, and he completely went out. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to Live It Out Inc. Are we still doing game night?
I mean, no one has sent me their emails, so we
There
may
you
not.
go. DeVante is backstage.
Okay, let me bring Vanta back in so we can throw our L's up.
Okay, there you go. There we go. Now get them L's up. You
Throw it
guys live
up.
it out. Live your best life. Love yourself, but know that God loves you. You are the apple of his eye. And I got that from First Lady Gail. You
Oh,
are the apple of God's
test
eye.
the
From Test of Tuesday. Thank you guys again for tuning out. Live It Out Inc. There's help for you. The suicide hotline, the crisis line, the app that we shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago. All the information can be found on our page. Please go to Live It Out Inc. Get what you need so that you can live a Adrian. That's what's the throw them L's up. I love it. I love it. Go to the page so you can get all that information. You may not need it, but you may know somebody who need it. You may come into contact with somebody, but you can be a walking resource and help save somebody's life. Yes, live, love, laughter. Live your best life. Live It Out Inc. We love you guys. Thank you for all your support. And I had to throw out my little kisses. Yes, put them L's up.
I hope
Live
this
it
helps
out.
somebody.
Yeah, I really hope we helping somebody. We really trying, guys. That's the main purpose of this organization is to help somebody. Somebody. So please spread the word. Spread the word. Share the knowledge. Um, share everything you can. Why I just saw myself pop up. But okay. That was strange. But okay.
Girl, close us out. These people ready to
I
go to
did.
bed.
I did, but they still look. I mean, I love our viewers. We still trying to do game night. So guys, send your email. Um, if you work with me, just know that you will be a part of game night. I will submit all of you guys' emails to Live It Out so that you would know that we will have game night. If you call yourself my friend, just know that you will be on Live It Out game night. Yes. So, all you people that are in my contacts, I can't wait to see you guys for game night at Live It Out Inc. You guys have a blessed rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Mask up. Stay 6 feet apart. Social distance. Let's be safe, guys. We're still fighting this coronavirus, COVID-19. And we just got to take care of each other. Take care of yourself so we can take care of each other. And that's it from Live It Out Inc. Have a blessed night.